Winning time travel. Buy a lottery ticket? Buy a lottery ticket? Buy a lottery ticket. In the deep alley, the dim streetlights did not illuminate the surroundings much, but instead made the atmosphere even more eerie. An old woman was sitting at the entrance of the alley, with a big scarf on her head, curled up like a beggar, but her eyes were very bright, staring at Tong Xiaola, who was coming home from school. Tong Xiaola was so depressed that she wanted to curse, thinking that she was a young girl, moist from head to toe, but she had to spend all day in classes and cram schools, struggling hard for the legendary college entrance examination. God, she is only a freshman in high school, okay? She is not a graduate who is about to take the college entrance examination. Why does she have to be in a state of high tension and fighting all day long? So tired, so tired. Forget it. Tong Xiaola was really depressed that he was still being pestered by a strange old woman not far from home. I won't buy it. She buried her head and walked into the alley. The old lady stood up and stopped Tong Xiaola, nagging. Buy one, buy one. I have no money. Tong Xiaola was extremely depressed. But the old lady suddenly said, no money. Forehead? Tong Xiaola looked at the old lady warily. Fraud? Robbery? It doesn't look like it, so why are you chasing her to buy lottery tickets without asking for money? The old lady smiled mysteriously. This is a time travel lottery. The winner can time travel. Tong Xiaola's lifeless eyes instantly lit up. Traveling through the lottery? Is there really such a thing? She took some time off from her busy schedule to read a lot of time travel novels to relax her brain. Many of the heroines in them traveled through time after meeting a mysterious person. Could it be that this time, the mysterious person was met by her? OMG, this is a big pie falling from the sky. Taking the crumpled and gray little piece of paper suspiciously, she followed the old woman's instructions, held the piece of paper in her hand, and silently recited the word, time travel, 10 times in her mind. A strange thing happened. After reading it 10 times, the small piece of paper in my hand disappeared out of thin air. Congratulations on winning the special prize. Traveling through time and becoming a queen, the old lady said excitedly. What rice? Enter the palace? Be a queen? Wow, haha. Tong Xiaola is so happy that good times are coming. She was almost crazy with joy. Be a queen, finally get rid of the college entrance examination. Winning time travel. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. The white light that appeared out of thin air enveloped Tong Xiaola, and she felt like she was being pulled higher and higher into the sky by a huge force. Which dynasty do I want to travel to? Tong Xiaola finally believed what the old woman said. It seemed that the lottery ticket was effective immediately, and she was about to travel through it. The old woman replied, Longyin Dynasty. Longyin Dynasty? I've never heard of it. Could it be a dynasty from another time and space? I have played some. The history of this time and space is so heavy. It is not fun to travel back. Maybe another time and space will be much more interesting. Who will I meet? What fate will I have? Tong Xiaola hurriedly asked while he was still here, because she had been pulled into the air and her rising speed was still accelerating. Fortunately, no one was walking around in the alley late at night, otherwise you would be frightened by this scene, right? This cannot be leaked. Remember, you control your own destiny. The old woman refused to tell her. So, how can I contact you there? How can I get back? The old woman stood on the ground, getting farther and farther away from Tong Xiaola in the sky, and her voice became more and more ethereal. You won the non-returnable time travel prize. You can't come back. Tong Xiaola rose higher and higher and could no longer see the old woman. The wind was whistling in her ears, and she saw the bright lights of the entire city. An irreversible time travel? God, she felt a little regretful. What if she lived in a very bad era? Hey, old lady, you can't ignore me. Tong Xiaola was a little anxious. Even if he won the prize, he couldn't redeem it so quickly. He still had many questions to ask, and he had to prepare some necessities before traveling through time. But she had no choice now. The ground was completely invisible, and there was no light in the sky. It was pitch black up, down, left, and right. And the worst thing was that she suddenly couldn't scream. Still rising, still rising. She felt suffocated, and it became increasingly difficult to breathe. It feels so uncomfortable. Help. Is it okay if I don't want this award? It's very likely that I'll suffocate to death before I can travel through time. Old lady, do you regret selling the medicine? The emperor is so handsome. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Hiss my arm. Yeah, it hurts like hell, as if it was pressed by a super heavy object. Tong Xiaola opened his eyes in a daze, and it took him a long time to see where he was. It's red everywhere, from top to bottom, from left to right, it's overwhelmingly red. Looking down at herself in red clothes, Tong Xiaola has black lines. It seems that she has traveled through time and become a bride. At this moment, she is sitting on the bed in the bridal chamber. But this arm hurts so much. Why does it hurt so much? Grandma, maybe I was hit by something while traveling through time and space. By the way, in that dark time travel background, Tong Xiaola was so suffocated that she lost consciousness after a while. She thought she had suffocated to death, but she didn't expect that she could survive, and the time travel was successful. What did the old woman say? Special prize, travel through time and become a queen? Am I the queen now? Tong Xiaola thought excitedly. Trying to ignore the pain in his arm, Tong Xiaola shouted, "Here comes Dash." Before he finished speaking, 2 people who looked like maids walked in and both saluted. What are your orders, madam? Yeah, it's so useful. It came so quickly. After clearing his throat, Tong Xiaola said seriously, "Where is the emperor?" The 2 maids looked at each other, and one of them replied, "The emperor himself went to get medicine for the queen and is on his way back." Haha, she is indeed a queen, and she seems to be a very favored queen, allowing the emperor to personally deliver the medicine. But in this bridal outfit, could it be that today is the wedding day of the emperor and queen? Thinking of this, Tong Xiaola became excited and really wanted to see what the emperor looked like. "Rower, I'm here." A clear male voice sounded, and then a tall figure appeared in front of Tong Xiaola. "Your Majesty, good luck." The 2 maids greeted the visitor, and then retreated, leaving only Tong Xiaola and the man facing each other. Huh? Not bad. This emperor is really good. Tong Xiaola's eyes lit up. I saw that this emperor looked quite young, as if he was no more than 20 years old. And that face looks really like Wu Chun, tall and handsome, giving people a very gentle feeling. The emperor is so handsome. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Tong Xiaola's face turned red. Although I have seen a lot of handsome guys since I was a child, most of them were on TV. Such close contact is really rare. Moreover, this handsome boy smiled at him gently. Not to mention, he was still the emperor. "Rower, does your arm still hurt? Come on, take the painkillers." The handsome emperor walked up to Tong Xiaola with the medicine, blew on it carefully, and brought the medicine bowl to Tong Xiaola's mouth. Although you are very gentle, my name is not Rower," Tong Xiaola protested silently. However, the emperor's eyes became gentler and gentler, and Tong Xiaola's little slander immediately disappeared. Let Rower be Rower. There are many people who change their names after time travel. Under the emperor's disgusting and gentle eyes, Tong Xiaola drank a bowl of bitter medicine in a daze. After taking away the empty bowl, there was a hint of joy in the emperor's eyes. "Rower," his tone was so touching. Tong Xiaola suddenly realized that this was the night of the emperor and queen's bridal chamber, and his face suddenly turned redder. He with such ambiguous eyes and tone, what does he want to do? Tong Xiaola's head lowered lower and lower, so shy. This lottery ticket is a bit too much. Just travel through time and be a queen when you are a queen. Why did you go directly to the bridal chamber of the emperor and empress during the night of flowers and candles? Do you want to do that right away? Oh, I'm so confused. So confused. I'm not mentally prepared for this at all. Although I have read time travel novels countless times, imagining that one day I can win the hearts of beautiful men in ancient times, there is still a gap between fantasy and reality. As soon as I started, I went into the bridal chamber with real swords and guns, not even talking about love, not cultivating feelings. Oh my, it's so evil. Hiding your face. The handsome emperor raised his hand, placed it on the painful part of Tong Xiala's arm and rubbed it gently. Does it still hurt? It hurts. It hurts even more to be rubbed like this. But before Tong Xiala could answer, the handsome emperor's hand suddenly moved to Tong Xiala's face. Rower. His voice was very gentle. Forehead? What to do? Tong Xiala's brain short-circuited for a moment. At this moment, the handsome emperor's face suddenly came closer, followed by his warm breath. Wow, there are more handsome ones. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Tong Xiala's short circuit is even more serious. So fast? Really that fast? Going to kiss? Should she obey him or not? She thought sadly. She has always fantasized about traveling through time. There is no such thing as a bridal chamber. Just when she was in a dilemma, there was a commotion outside the hall. What's going on? The handsome emperor stopped and looked sideways at the door. A young eunuch came in to report and knelt down on the ground. Your Majesty? Before he could finish his words, he was kicked aside by a man who entered the door later. Emperor. The emperor left Tong Xiala and stood up, walking to the man who broke into the palace. Tong Xiala was confused for a while. Huh? What is going on? How could someone break into the emperor's and queen's bridal chamber so easily, and the emperor still called him Emperor Father? What is the royal father? I have never heard of such an official position. Unexpectedly, the imperial father bypassed the emperor and walked directly to Tong Xiala. Wow, Tong Xiala turned to stone again. Is it possible? He is so handsome. He is even more handsome than the emperor. Come on, that emperor is already a rare and handsome guy. Why is this emperor father 100 times more handsome? Tong Xiala's heart blossomed with large tracts of flowers, and she was so excited that time travel was such a blessing. So many beauties.
Huh.
Why does this royal father keep staring at me? While Tong Xiala was excited, he finally felt that something was wrong. Imperial father, may I ask? The handsome emperor man also walked up to Tong Xiala, with doubts on his face, no less than Tong Xiala's. The emperor's father stared at Tong Xiala for a while, then a smile appeared on his lips. Tianjia, Rower is outside the palace. Go and carry her in. The handsome emperor glanced at Tong Xiala in disbelief.
What?
What are the two of them talking about? I can't understand it at all. Tong Xiala was a little depressed. But this little depression disappeared immediately because it was so happy to be in such close contact with these two beauties. You can slowly understand things you don't understand later, but don't miss the opportunity to admire beautiful men. So Tong Xiala kept looking and looking, his fiery eyes darting back and forth between the two beauties in front of him. Wow, there are more handsome ones. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Well, as expected, this royal father is more handsome. For example, if all men are compared to stars in the sky, then the emperor is definitely the brightest star, but please pay attention to this, but when he meets the emperor's father, it is like a star meeting the moon, who is brighter and who is more beautiful can be seen at a glance. Your Majesty, I want to discuss something with you. After looking at it for a while, Tong Xiala raised his hand and said, What? Asked the handsome emperor. Please divorce me. Tong Xiala replied happily. As soon as he finished speaking, the two handsome men looked at Tong Xiala, seeming to be shocked by these words. For a long time, They kept looking at her, which made her feel a little numb. What's wrong? Is it amazing? Don't you just want a letter of divorce? Anyway, we just got married. The wedding night hasn't been over yet, and we haven't become husband and wife yet. So, what are we afraid of? Why? The handsome emperor finally asked. After clearing his throat, Tong Xiaola pointed at the royal father with his hand and said firmly, "Because I want to marry him." As soon as these words came out, the shock effect was even stronger. "Ru, are you?" the handsome emperor said in surprise and pain. However, his words were interrupted by the royal father. "Tianjia, she is not Roer, she is Lure." Yes, I am Tong Xiaola and Lear." Tong Xiaola smiled even more happily in her heart. His royal father was indeed destined to be with him. He said his name as soon as they met. "Do you want to marry me?" His Majesty the Emperor asked Tong Xiaola with narrowed eyes and an evil smile on his lips. "Uh-huh." Tong Xiaola nodded desperately. "Since it's time travel, you have to play a little crazy. After finally freeing yourself from the mountains of books and the sea of questions, and escaping from the shadow of the college entrance examination, you have to completely liberate yourself. The ancient rules are all on the sidelines. Don't give up on any of the 3 obediences and 4 virtues, or on women's self-cultivation. She, Tong Xiaola, just wants to do whatever she wants. Now, what she wants to do most is to get the handsome man in front of her. It's easy to marry me, but you have to be my maid first," His Majesty the Imperial Father said. "No problem." Tong Xiaola agreed immediately, then thought about it and asked, "How long will it take?" "I'm going to decide you. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Maybe a long time, maybe soon." Looks like this. What he means is that it all depends on his mood. If he is happy, he will marry her immediately. If he is not happy, he will continue to let her be a maid? Okay. No problem. Tong Xiaola readily agreed. Isn't it just being a maid? What's the big deal? Watch how my ace and invincible maid conquers the heart of a handsome man. Watch me tidy you up and make you docile, crying and shouting that you want to marry me. Tong Xiaola is gearing up and has high morale. Royal father. The handsome emperor man standing on one side interrupted. "Go pick up your rower. Leave her to me." The emperor's father motioned for Tong Xiaola to follow him. Tong Xiaola glanced at the handsome emperor apologetically, got out of bed, and followed the emperor's father. "Alas, emperor, why are you not as handsome as the imperial father, who made me the heroine of time travel?" Of course the time-traveling heroine wants to marry the most handsome man. You see, we just stayed in the bridal chamber together symbolically for a while, and we didn't eat the forbidden fruit, and we have no basis for any relationship. In fact, I don't owe you anything either, she was nagging in her heart as she walked away. "Bye-bye. I will remember you." Tong Xiaola said goodbye to the emperor and followed the emperor's father out of the palace. Farewell to the emperor. The little eunuch who had just been kicked over by the emperor's father lay on the ground and shouted. "What rice? The Supreme Emperor?" Tong Xiaola looked at the little eunuch in disbelief, and finally confirmed that he was sending his royal father off. "Are you the Supreme Emperor? The emperor's father?" Tong Xiaola asked weakly. The emperor's father kept walking and glanced at Tong Xiaola slightly. "What? Don't tell me you don't know." "Yeah, I know," Tong Xiaola agreed. "Is there any justice? How could there be such a young and handsome emperor?" Tong Xiaola's impression of the Supreme Emperor comes entirely from movies and TV series. Which Supreme Emperor out there doesn't have a white beard, hair, and wrinkles on his face? Who has seen such a handsome emperor? And she was about to become the wife of the most handsome emperor in the universe. Well, although there is still a period of maid probation before becoming a wife. "Can I touch you?" Tong Xiaola drooled at the back of the Supreme Emperor. "I'm going to decide you. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free." She is not a pervert, but she can't believe this fact. The handsome boy is about to become her own, and she wants to make sure she is not dreaming. The Supreme Emperor suddenly stopped and slowly turned his head. At this time, the two of them had already walked outside the palace gate. There were so many stars in the sky, making it a beautiful background. And this background, of course, exists to set off the Supreme Emperor's magnificence. Look how charming he is when he turns around under the starlight. What did you say? Say it again. The Supreme Emperor stared at Tong Xiaola. This voice, this tone, why do I feel so scary? Tong Xiaola shivered involuntarily. I can forget it, I didn't say anything. Tong Xiaola wanted to repeat what he just said, but halfway through, he felt so depressed and scary. Woohoo, what a scary look and atmosphere. The Supreme Emperor turned around and continued walking, while Tong Xiaola followed behind with his head drooped. Tong Xiaola, you are such a coward. You have embarrassed the time travel girl. She scolded herself in her heart. It was so embarrassing to be frightened by the handsome man's look. Alas, how did she know that the Supreme Emperor was famous for being cold-blooded and cold-faced in the world? Many people would be frightened and fainted by his eyes. It was already very rare for her not to faint. After walking for a while, a large group of people followed behind them, including eunuchs and maids, all serving the Supreme Emperor. The night wind blew by, making Tong Xiaola's head clearer. She secretly clenched her fists. The Supreme Emperor, I'm going to seduce you.
Come on.
Tong Xiaola, don't be afraid, fight hard. She cheered herself up in her heart. A group of people walked forward, walking and walking. Tong Xiaola's legs straightened as they walked, but they still didn't reach their destination. Your Majesty, where are you going? The palace is so big, why don't you just make a sedan chair or ride in a car and rely on 2 legs? Yes, your legs are slender and prettier, so why are you willing to abuse them like this? Hey, how long do we have to go? Tong Xiaola finally couldn't help it. The handsome emperor ignored her and walked forward handsomely, admiring the night as he walked. Recommend Yang Jiani's new book, The Du Chou Harem, Beauty, Ugly and Exquisite Drunk. Summary: the person she loved died trying to save herself, but she couldn't help but miss her and jumped into the West Lake. When she opened her eyes again, the ugly face in the mirror frightened her into panic. Due to a palace conspiracy, Linglong was forced to embark on the road of surrogate marriage. She was desperate for this life, but she suddenly discovered that the person she was marrying had a face exactly like her boyfriend. Is it a coincidence or a past life? How should he face such an ugly face? Eat tofu. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Just like that, by the time the group arrived at the Emperor's palace, Tong Xiaola had almost fallen down from exhaustion. Stepping into the Emperor's bedroom, she took a fancy to the large and comfortable bed, and she really wanted to jump on it and fall asleep. Fetch me bath water. The Supreme Emperor ordered ruthlessly, taking off his clothes as he spoke. Only then did Tong Xiaola realize that her identity was a maid. At this moment of hesitation, the Supreme Emperor was already impatient. He narrowed his eyes and shot Tong Xiaola with a cold gaze. Tong Xiaola felt an electric current from his head to his feet. It was so cold. She bowed her head silently and walked out of the dormitory, obediently going to fetch bath water. This handsome guy is so dangerous. It seems that you need to practice your courage, so as not to be frightened by his sudden look or words. I really want to ask him if he has lived in the Arctic, otherwise why would it be so cold and scary? Just a few steps out of the dormitory door, His Majesty the Emperor's cold voice sounded again. So unruly? Come back. Are you talking about me? Tong Xiaola looked around and saw that there was no one else. From the inside to the outside of the palace, it was just her and the Supreme Emperor, so he must be talking about her. So he walked back obediently and stood in the corner ready to be scolded. Just think of it as being made to stand up by the teacher while sleeping in class. Do you know how to get out? The Supreme Emperor had already taken off his outer robe and was only wearing a pair of pajamas. He leaned on the soft couch and asked leisurely. Tang Xiaola was stunned for a moment when she was asked. She reacted in a flash and said quickly, "I know. It should be like this. This slave is resigning," she said and bowed to demonstrate. "Well, then step back." Tang Xiaola wanted to curse, but as soon as he saw the beautiful man reclining on the soft couch, the fire in his heart disappeared instantly. After exiting politely, she rushed to fetch bath water. "Take a shower. The beautiful man needs to take a shower. Maybe he can spy on her." I asked the little palace maid at the door where to get bath water and took 2 little eunuchs to carry the water. The little eunuch didn't want to go at first, but Tang Xiaola revealed her identity as the emperor's personal maid, so the little eunuch had no choice but to obey. Hee, does the Supreme Emperor want to deliberately embarrass me? Does he want me to do manual labor? I'm not that stupid. Tang Xiaola secretly laughed to himself. Eat tofu. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. The 2 little eunuchs carried 2 large buckets of bath water back to the palace. Tang Xiaola nodded with satisfaction. "Well done. I will mention you more in front of the emperor." The little eunuch was very happy and enthusiastically delivered 2 large buckets of water to the bathroom in the side hall. Tang Xiaola was about to ask the 2 of them to carry a few more buckets to avoid having to add hot water when the water got cold, but unexpectedly, she was shocked as soon as she stepped into the bathroom. Oh my God, such a big bath like a swimming pool? And she was absolutely sure that the water in the pool was warm because there was mist floating on top of the pool. Since there is such a big hot pool, why carry the bath water? Are you trying to mess with me on purpose? Tang Xiaola asked the 2 young eunuchs to go down and ran back to the bedroom angrily. "Your Majesty, the water is here." The Supreme Emperor put down the book in his hand, stood up leisurely, hummed casually, and walked towards the bathroom without even looking at Tang Xiaola. "Your Majesty, can you ask me a question?" Tang Xiaola held his breath. "Ask." His Majesty the Supreme Emperor spoke out one word proudly. "There's a big pool of hot water in the bathroom. Why do we have to carry the bath water?" The Emperor replied, "I am happy. I really want to press him until he gets a good beating. I even took off his clothes and beat him. Forehead? Strip naked? Ha ha. He is about to go into the bathroom to take off his clothes and take a shower." The anger in Tang Xiaola's heart disappeared, and thoughts came to mind. "The handsome guy of the Supreme Emperor, I want to eat your tofu." With such impure thoughts, Tang Xiaola said respectfully, "Your Majesty, let your servants take care of you to take a bath." The Supreme Emperor still hummed casually, not thinking there was anything wrong with it. Could it be that he was used to being served by palace maids before, so he didn't think there was anything wrong with having a woman serve him when he took a bath? Who took his bath before? Find them one by one, and spank them some other time. You actually took a look at all the beautiful men before me? Tang Xiaola was thinking in his mind. Yeah. The emperor entered the bathroom, stretched out his arms and waited for her to take off her clothes. Tang Xiaola walked forward happily and took advantage of the moment of taking off his clothes to touch the emperor's arm twice. The mandarin ducks playing in the water are so evil. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. It feels good in hand. Tang Xiaola took off her clothes with her eyes closed, because she wanted to close her eyes first and concentrate on feeling the feel, and then open her eyes to concentrate on appreciating the beauty. Now it's time to open your eyes. Tang Xiaola opened her eyelids with intoxication, slowly. "Audash," she screamed, pushed away 2 or 3 steps, and almost sat on the ground. Because the moment she opened her eyes, she found that the emperor's face was facing hers tightly, and his eyes were still staring at her. What are you doing? You scared me to death." She touched her chest in shock. "I also want to ask you what you want to do. Just take off your clothes and enjoy it." The Supreme Emperor straightened up and asked. It turned out that he had close-fitting underwear inside his pajamas, and they were long-sleeved and long trousers, so the nude picture of a beautiful man in Tong Xiala's dream didn't appear at all. There was no exposure at all, and nothing could be seen. However, since that set of underwear was made of soft silk, it covered the owner's body snugly and outlined the emperor's perfect body curves even more perfectly. What a handsome silhouette! Participate in the model competition and you can directly enter the finals. No, win the championship directly. While Tong Xiala was stroking the emperor's body, he responded to the emperor's questions with ah. Tong Xiala, who was intoxicated with beauty, did not notice that the Supreme Emperor had an evil smile on his lips. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. The Supreme Emperor slowly approached Tong Xiala and stretched out his hand towards her. Tong Xiala handed his hand to the Supreme Emperor and was pulled up by him. Caught off guard, the Supreme Emperor picked up Tong Xiala. Hug the princess who beats you. Tong Xiala's little sweetheart was jumping and jumping. God, it couldn't be so fast. It just wanted to take a peek and eat some tofu, so why did he hug it so directly? This plot is moving too fast. And this kind of scene looks like the Supreme Emperor is eating her tofu, rather than eating the Supreme Emperor's tofu as she imagined. Your Majesty, what are you going to do? Tong Xiala asked with his heart pounding. What do you think? Aren't you going to marry me? The Supreme Emperor asked. The mandarin ducks playing in the water are so evil. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. I have said so, but what are you going to do now? Tong Xiala stuttered a little. To be honest, she was just a girl who was interested in time travel novels. She had never been in love, let alone such a close contact with a man, so the Emperor's move made her a little overwhelmed. After hearing her question, the Supreme Emperor replied, Is there any need to ask? Use it, of course you need to ask. Tong Xiala burst into tears in her heart. How could she not ask about such a serious matter? The scene now was so ambiguous and blushing that she didn't dare think about what would happen next. In fact, there is no need to think about it. What else could happen to a man and a woman alone? The Supreme Emperor quickly walked into the bath with Tong Xiala in his arms. It's not that she doesn't want to resist, she just doesn't have the strength. Not to mention that this time-traveled body is a bit strange. Her limbs seem to be soft. Even if she is healthy and lively, it is impossible for her to compete with men in strength. Moreover, judging from the touch of the Supreme Emperor's chest, Tong Xiala was sure that he was a strong man with well-developed chest muscles. He must have been trained, and she would definitely not be able to beat him. The fruit in the bath was so warm that half of Tong Xiala's body was immersed in the water. It was so confusing, she was almost torn to death now. Should she obey him or not? There are so many problems in this time travel. First, she had sex with the Emperor in the bridal chamber. She debated for a long time whether to obey him or not. Now, playing with the Emperor, she was even more confused about whether to accept the love of this handsome man who was 100 times more beautiful than the Emperor. Kindness? Show love? Tong Xiala suddenly reacted. You have to hold on. Don't be dazzled by the beauty of a beautiful man. As a young man of the new century who has received modern education for many years, Tong Xiala definitely wants to bring the concept of equality between men and women to ancient times. Love must be equal and sincere, and reject loveless sexual harassment. Yes, just do it. Tong Xiala made up his mind. If the Emperor really fell in love with her at first sight and planned to marry her, then it would be okay to obey him now. But if he just wants to play, sorry, she won't play with him. If she wants to marry him, she will definitely not marry him as a bed slave, but as a wife. Do you love me? Tong Xiala asked. The mandarin ducks playing in the water are so evil. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. The Supreme Emperor raised his sword eyebrows slightly, as if he didn't hear what she was saying clearly. Do you love me? Tong Xiala repeated it again. Damn it, he couldn't even hear what he was saying from so close. Her voice was not soft when she spoke. Could it be that this handsome man was thinking about bad things, so he automatically ignored and blocked all outside sounds? After Tong Xiaola repeated it, he patiently waited for the handsome man to answer. It's a pity that what's waiting is still a huh. Don't you understand? Don't you know what love is? Tong Xiaola asked strangely. Didn't the word love exist in ancient times? The Supreme Emperor shook his head. I want you to explain why you ask this question.
Ah,
Do you still need to explain this? In this situation, you must ask this question. Tong Xiaola was confused. What's going on now? What's going on now? The Supreme Emperor was obviously out of sorts, still outside Tong Xiaola's logic. Tong Xiaola looked at herself, whose clothes were half wet, with only her chest exposed on the water, and then at the beautiful man with his open neckline, revealing his strong chest, and then looked at the beautiful man's arms holding her body. What is going on? It's this kind of ambiguous situation. Hey, don't you men here ask questions before sleeping with a woman? You don't ask the woman if she loves you, and you don't ask yourself, do you love this woman? Tong Xiaola simply made her words clear, using vulgar words like sleeping with women in a very uncivilized manner, because she found that the Supreme Emperor and she seemed to be completely different, so she had no choice but to make it clear and simple, so simple that anyone with a little intelligence would understand. The Supreme Emperor raised his eyebrows slightly, catching the flaw in Tong Xiaola's words. We are here? Are you not from here? Sweat, what a keen nerve. I mean in your palace. Tong Xiaola quickly explained and tried to cover up. Oh. Fortunately, the Supreme Emperor did not continue to pursue the matter, but answered Tong Xiaola's question. Not only the palace, but also the men in the entire Longyin dynasty would not ask such a question. Sweat, sure enough. It is indeed an era where men are superior to women. The mandarin ducks playing in the water are so evil. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free. Tong Xiaola decided to change this era. Well, let's start with the beautiful man in front of him. Brainwash him first. Your Majesty, please let me down first, okay? Tong Xiaola tried to keep her voice as soft as possible to discuss with him. The Supreme Emperor let her down. She stepped on the non-slip floor under the bathtub and stood firm. She said, Let's get to know each other first. My name is Tong Xiaola. What's yours? The Supreme Emperor's eyes narrowed. Aren't you Tong Le? Who is Tong Le? I don't know him. Do you like to play dumb? The Emperor asked. What do you mean by pretending to be stupid? I am Tong Xiaola. Just after Tong Xiaola finished speaking, he suddenly remembered something and said, Where's the mirror? Let me take a look. The Supreme Emperor pointed to a tall shelf covered with satin next to the bath. Tong Xiaola climbed out of the bath and ran over. He opened the satin and took a look. It turned out to be a mirror. Look in the mirror to the left and to the right, it's your own face. She frowned and thought, did her entire body travel through time, or did she wear it on someone exactly like her? Your Majesty, is this Tong Le you are talking about me? How many times have you seen me before? Tong Xiaola asked. The handsome emperor's brows twitched, and he secretly thought, what the hell is this problem? Are you addicted to pretending to be stupid? Come here, he greeted. Tong Xiaola walked over, and as soon as he reached the edge of the bathtub, he was unexpectedly dragged down into the pool and held tightly by him again. He narrowed his eyes dangerously and said, Do you think you can seduce me successfully this way? Tong Le, I have seen a lot of women who pretend to be stupid, but they all ended badly in the end. Do you want to try it? What rice? Did he still think she was pretending to be stupid? Think she was trying to arouse his curiosity and then seduce him? Tong Xiaola was speechless, not knowing how to communicate with the owner of this head. Hiss. With a sound, Tong Xiaola's clothes were torn apart by the Supreme Emperor. Hey, what are you doing? Tong Xiaola quickly covered his chest where he was almost having sex with both hands, and stared at the Supreme Emperor angrily and horrified. The Supreme Emperor smiled evilly. If I told you that your seduction was successful, would you be very happy? No, just kidding. She didn't try to seduce him by pretending to be stupid, okay? The mandarin ducks playing in the water are so evil. Remember mail sign in 1 second, update quickly, and read for free.